Get the door behind you. Hi, everybody, and welcome back from the break. I would like to invite our first speaker for this session, Greg Hankins from Nokia. Greg's topic will be Peering LAN Security at IXPs Revisited.
Good afternoon, everyone. This work is presented by me and also co-written by two colleagues at DKIX. So I'd like to thank Daniel and Matthias for their work on this topic. So the title is Revisited. Why is the title Revisited? So a lot of work went into peering LAN security maybe 10 or 15 years ago. It was really popular at IXP conferences and peering conferences. And then it feels like we just kind of defined a bunch of things and then went away and left things as they were for many years. So I think things have changed since then, and it's worth revisiting this topic. Specifically, there were a number of things written like BCPs, RFCs, some standards. They haven't really evolved as peering has changed. And then also router hardware technology and protocols have evolved. So specifically, the routers that we have now have much more advanced layer 3 filtering capabilities than we did before. And we have a new protocol called EVPN that many IXPs are implementing. Some are probably still looking at it. So for this presentation, we looked at what types of layer 2 and layer 3 traffic we see at a large IXP, in this case, DKIX Frankfurt. And we asked the question, can we make peering LAN security better and more secure now? And throughout the presentation, we kind of realized that, yes, there is some information here, but basically, I think you'll see that I'm asking just as many questions as presenting information. So there's a lot, I think, that still could be done here. So in terms of standards and things that are defined for peering LAN security, a lot of things have been written. You might hear the topic IXP port hygiene, also known as peering LAN security. So several organizations like Manners, OpenIX, EuroIX, and others have written about this. IXPs themselves, so like the IXPs have written configuration guides for members to connect. There's at least a couple RFCs that have been published. Some are more detailed than others. None are very complete and cover everything in one place. And a lot of details and especially configuration examples are missing. So it kind of feels like everyone has to figure this out for themselves and for their hardware. And another question that came up is, well, where should these things be documented? Who should document them? Is there a place where we could collect all this information? So again, more questions than answered on some things that could be done. What are the risks to customers? There's basically two. Number one is that there's noise, so it's just unwanted traffic on the exchange that every router has to process, and then either drops the packet in hardware and software. It's probably not really a big deal these days, but if you've been around for a while, you remember that AMSIX had to write an ARP sponge specifically to absorb the ARP traffic, because I forgot what it was, but anyway, there was some router that was falling over because there was too much ARP traffic and AMSIX had to sponge it on their exchange. And then the other is a security issue, either accidental or malicious. You can inject routes into foreign networks. So if I'm peering with you with BGP, then there are peering policies and ROV and all sorts of things that protect the routing information that I'm sending you. But if, for example, you have OSPF open and I join your OSPF adjacency across the exchange, then that's a completely different story and you probably don't want me to do that. There's actually a lot of good practical examples that were presented at Apricot 2010. There's a link to the presentation here. And the point here is that there's little risk to the IXP themselves. The peering fabric is solid. It forwards traffic. It's not really affected by the security issues. So the risk is really to IXP customers. And again, the question, what do you think IXPs should filter? IXPs want to provide a secure peering fabric. Is this even a problem? Do you expect IXPs to provide a secure fabric, or do you rely on your own filtering? Hopefully there's a combination of both. So, again, I think there's a question of what type of responsibility the IXP has to members in terms of what they provide. In terms of data sources, we looked at a couple sources. Basically, the way that this presentation came about is I created some layer 2 filters and some layer 3 filters that were very specific for different types of protocols. I did this in 2015, and then I set up a cron job nightly to scrape the output, and then I forgot about it for, I guess, 7 or 8 years. And then we went back and looked at the data together and figured out that there's actually something really interesting there. So what we did is we looked at the output of the filters, and we looked at different types of data and control plane traffic to see what was actually being counted by the filters. So there's 2 types of things. There's layer 2 frames that should be filtered. Obviously, you don't want things like LACP, discovery protocols, MPLS probably shouldn't be going across the exchange. And then we also looked at layer 3 protocols. There are a lot of protocols, and also specifically link local packets that should be filtered at layer 3. Layer 2 security is needed for 2 reasons. Number 1, you just want to allow the wanted frames. So it's very simple for layer 2. You allow ARP, v4, and v6, and you drop everything else, and that's pretty much all you have to do. So for layer 2, you also have the possibility that a customer could introduce loops, so you want to prevent that. And that basically means that you have some IP and MAC filters, and you have some ingress and egress filters to make sure that they don't loop things through the exchange. What DKIX saw in their filter counters was that a very small percentage is dropped. It's negligible, and I think these were, for a week or maybe a couple of days, but it doesn't matter. The point is that DKIX's layer 2 filters are working, and they're dropping a very, very small percent of traffic. So for layer 2, it's pretty simple. As you can see, from my perspective, my router saw absolutely no leaked unwanted traffic. Layer 2 is defined very well in BCPs and standards. It's very clear on what should be forwarded and dropped. And if you allow ARP, v4, and v6, then you basically have done everything you need to do. And the nice thing, and one of the key points about this presentation, is that when you filter a layer 2 ether type, it also filters a layer 3 IPv4 control plane. So if you filter at layer 2, that means no v4 OSPF is going through, or no v4 ISIS, or no EIGRP, or things like that. So in general, we think it's working well at DKIX, and probably also working well in the industry, other IXPs, because again, it's defined, it's well defined, the filter is very simple, and it just works. Now, looking at layer 3 is a little bit different story. So you need layer 3 security to drop unwanted discovery and routing protocols. Link layer protocols should be filtered, but a lot of the BCP's standards documentation is really vague, doesn't mention them. It's easy, again, for v4 because the layer 2 filtering just takes care of the v4 layer 3 control protocols. Don't have to worry about it. It's much harder for v6 because you have to filter on some multicast addresses, and you might even need a combination of next header filtering for each protocol, depending on how you've configured your filters. And then there's a whole other question that starts to get into the question like, what should IXP forward? Because an IXP, by definition, is supposed to be a layer 2 fabric. You generally don't expect ISPs to look into layer 3, but they may have to look into some layer 3 to do filtering. What about DHCP? So I'm seeing DHCP packets at the exchange. It's probably not something that should be allowed. And I think generally everyone would agree that an IXP can filter layer 3 traffic sent to the peering LAN prefix, but probably shouldn't do any filtering beyond that, because that would kind of defeat the purpose of having the exchange. So very tricky questions sometimes about how deep IXPs can look into packets. Okay, there we go. So from my perspective as a customer, I see a lot of very interesting things. I see a lot of neighbor discovery. I don't know if that should be there. I think there are some things that we could do to reduce that. Looking at over a long period of time, there are a lot of unwanted protocols. Some things we just didn't have enough counters on because I configured a fairly, the filter wasn't granular enough that I configured. So there are some other things that we could look at in v6, some other sort of more obscure packet types. But basically, there is a lot of noise on the exchange. There's a lot of MLD that's needed for v6. I think that maybe we could revisit that. I'm not sure if MLD is actually needed, because I've been dropping it since 2015 and my router forwards v6 fine, so I'm not sure if we need. So again, looking at the two cases, there is a lot of noise, but there is a lot of risk. So RA and RS in particular, that's router advertisement and router solicitation for v6, I think is a really big risk. And the standards, well, one RFC says that it shouldn't be permitted at IXPs, but then doesn't really tell you how to block it. But it is a risk if you're listening to router advertisements, or it's even weirder if you're sending router solicitations on the exchange. And then there is some OSPF v3 on the exchange that pops up every once in a while, and oddly enough, also some PIM v6. So that can be very dangerous because it is entirely possible that another participant could form an IGP adjacency over the exchange, and that could certainly be very dangerous. So filtering at layer 3 is tricky because you have to permit most of the traffic. So one approach is that you drop specific types and let everything else go, or maybe another approach should be that you block everything and only permit certain types. So there's two different approaches. The risk is that, with layer 2, like I said, it's very simple because you permit those 3 ether types and you're not going to drop any legitimate traffic. But with layer 3, it's a whole different story because you don't know what's transiting your IXP because you're providing a service that people can forward packets at layer 3. So they may be doing something with some odd protocol. Who knows? There are a bunch of protocols out there. They're more obscure that use different next header types, and those may be perfectly legitimate, and you don't want to drop them. So the conclusion for layer 3 is I think there's a lot of opportunity for work there. It's not well defined in BCPs or any of the standards. It's not really clear what packets should be forwarded or dropped. Again, getting it right is difficult. There's a risk of dropping legitimate traffic, and then then your support phone rings. And it seems like this could be an issue generally in the IXP community because no one's really looked at it in a while. So I think there's some work to be done there. So on to something that does make peering LANs more secure, EVPN. I've been talking about EVPN for almost 10 years. Actually, I just looked, and my first EVPN presentation was at APIX 10 years ago. So I've been talking about it for a long time. I love EVPN. It's a good technology, and specifically for IXP peering LANs, there is a nice solution that it offers. So the problem is that as the prefixes get bigger, there's a lot of neighbor discovery traffic, ARP and IPv6 neighbor discovery. It's even worse for IPv6 because there's twice as much traffic as for IPv4 because you have neighbor discovery for the link local address and for the global address. So there's actually twice as much neighbor discovery. It generates a lot of control plane traffic. I'm seeing a couple thousand packets per second. I think it's like a megabit or megabit and a half. Again, it's not significant, but it's definitely not needed, and there are mechanisms to control that. So what EVPN does is it installs the IXP router as the proxy. That proxy is configured with the MAC address and the IP address. So you already know your customer's MAC address because that's in the port filter, and you have their IP address because you're assigning it to them. So you have all the information needed, and then the router just builds a static database of neighbor discovery addresses, and it proxies for the IXP. So there's no broadcast and no unknown multicast anymore. Here's how that looks at DKIX. Again, over a long period of time. There's a lot of ARP traffic, and then they renumbered from a /22 to a 21, and then there was more and more ARP traffic, and then in end of 2022, they started implementing EVPN, and you can see the ARP traffic just falls down completely. And I think I'm seeing on my router, maybe a few packets per second of ARP, and that's mostly the ARP and neighbor discovery requests that I'm generating myself. So it just completely eliminates the broadcasts and all the multicasts. So some conclusions, and next step, as I mentioned, there are some filtering technology advancements, especially in what you can do with layer 3 filters that you couldn't do before. And I've worked at a number of vendors, so coming from Force 10 to Brocade to Alcatel-Lucent and then Nokia, I can tell you that years and years ago, some of the gear just didn't have the sophistication to look into layer 3 packets the way that routers can today. So there's a lot of advancements in technology that have come along, as well as the protocols that you can use to make peering LANs more secure. EVPN is a good one. But I think in terms of the industry, it's a good idea for everyone to kind of take a look at what they're doing and what could be done better. I think generally everyone would agree layer 2 peering it's working great. Not much confusion or not many questions there. Layer 3 I think needs to be revisited kind of generally and globally in the IXP community. So again, just more questions than answers. And some actions, the standards and configuration examples, I think is definitely a problem. I mentioned this at the beginning. I don't know that there's a clear solution of where the content could be maintained or by whom. There's no like IXP authority globally. Certainly there are more detailed examples that are needed for different types of vendors. And I think the other thing is that IXPs should look at their quarantine procedures. I know for a fact that some IXPs have a very strict quarantine procedure with very strict filtering, and then once that quarantine passes, they put their member on the peering LAN, and then somehow that doesn't use the same filtering. So my suggestion would be, I mean, people change their configuration over time, right? So my suggestion would be use those same filters that you use in quarantine in production, and then when someone turns on OSPF, then it doesn't get through. And I think there's also another opportunity for participants to look at their filtering. A good strategy for security is always defense in depth, so you never want to rely on one party doing the right thing. You always want to have a couple different mechanisms for security. And I was thinking, like if I'm private peering or if I'm just buying transit or something even, there's no reason for me to, for example, permit the IGP from my peer, or for just prevent any sort of unwanted traffic. So I think there's a good opportunity just to look at internet routing security in general and how you configure security on your peering and transit and IXP links if you're a service provider, and put in some secure filters. I remember years ago when I was actually running a service provider, we used to look at Cisco Discovery packets from UUNet to figure out what iOS version they were running, and then that's the version that we would upgrade to because we figured it was good enough for UUNet, it was good enough for us. But there's no real reason to have that kind of traffic on interfaces anymore. So I think there's some opportunity for improvement. And again, I think there's more questions than answers, so hopefully this will get you thinking, and maybe if you're an IXP, look at your security. If you're an IXP member, maybe also look at your security. And hopefully we can come up with some ideas and solutions to make things more secure.
Thank you, Gavin. Does anybody have a question? You have a question?
Yes. Hi, Greg.
Hey.
Natalie from M6. I'm quite new to the IXP stuff. And so I was wondering, about a few slides back, you had some statistics about the types of protocols that you see. One of them was MLD.
Yeah.
And then I was wondering, you pose that as a risk. While I see that for RA, why would MLD be, yeah, exactly, the MLD v2 report. Because that's quite a high number, why would MLD be a risk?
So that's a good question. So the Neighbor Discovery RFC, which I looked at earlier today, but I forgot the number, specifies that all routers must join the group when they initialize. And one of my points is here that, yeah, maybe that was true, 10 or 15 years ago, but now maybe that's not really needed. So it may be that we can just simply block all multicast addresses on the all routers address, and then that would block MLD and RA and RS. I don't know, maybe that would break something. That's kind of a good question. But yeah, the huge number of MLD is due to the way that IPv6 works and is required. But like I mentioned before, I've been blocking it since as long as I can remember, and my router forwards v6 fine. So maybe that guidance from 10 or 15 years ago needs to be revisited. Oh, hey, Will.
Hello, Greg. It's Will from LonApp in London here. Thanks for a great presentation. I wondered, I was thinking about insecurity and defense in depth, and we don't really talk necessarily about the configurations that we tell our members. For instance, you said, oh, we used to see a lot of CDP, we don't see so much CDP anymore, but then, yeah, now we see MikroTik discovery protocol and things like that. So I'm wondering, I'm kind of surprised actually that you don't have more like member data, as in you've simply got packet counters. Have you thought about setting up a mirror, getting more data so you can actually, and I guess it's a big problem to talk to individual networks, but...
Yeah, so that's a good question. From my perspective, I can't do that. I'm just a member who appears at DKIC, so you wouldn't want me to go looking into your member data. So my perspective is purely just what I get on the wire in terms of like broadcasts and multicasts and unknown ucasts. Yes, certainly I think there's more work to be done in terms of looking specifically at a better way. I mean, I'm just comparing like port filters. That's not a really good way to do detailed traffic analysis. So yes, certainly I think there's an opportunity for IXP operators to really look at a deeper level what kind of protocols they see on their exchange, and then figure out if that's a risk and try to do something about it.
Yeah, because at LONAP we have this tool IXP Watch that you're familiar with probably. I don't know if other people in the room are, but it's kind of old now. But you can run this on your IXP, send your traffic to it, and get a report. And we go after those people. We're like, please, will you not do DHCP on a peering LAN? Or
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think people would probably be surprised at what they would find if they start digging under those couch cushions to see what all is out there.
I recommend it. Thanks.
I have a question from chat from Zorlin. What is the data plane, MPLS VXLAN when we are implementing EVPN in most of the IXs?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's slightly outside the scope, but since I love VPN, I gladly talk about it. So I think the question is what data plane should be implemented for EVPN. That depends. In my experience, a lot of IXP operators are using VXLAN because it's really simple and it just routes over IP, and you can have your IGP and just run VXLAN over that. I have been involved in some proposals for IXP where we propose an MPLS segment routing data plane with EVPN over that. So it kind of depends on what you're trying to do and how big your network is and how complex you want to make it and how much failover you want. If you have a small IXP with 2 links or like a triangle, I would just probably use VXLAN. But if you have a very large IXP with many different paths, then you may want to look at something more complicated like MPLS or segment routing.
Thank you, Gavin. If there are no more questions, I'd like to...
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I'd like to invite our next speaker, Archie, and Archie will be talking about the role of a peering manager.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Archie Atienza from Philippines, and this is our topic for today. If you don't know me, my day job is from an ISP, and I'm part of ISOC, and also the NOG, and I'm part of the APNIC EC, and last have this stint at Asia Open RAN Academy for improving mobile connectivity in the Philippines. Okay. Disclaimer. So this is based on personal experiences and responsibilities, etc. Doesn't connect me from my current role and other functions. And I also would like to extend gratitude to the forefathers who inspired me to be in this role. Thank you, them. Okay, agenda will be like what, why, where, when, who, and how of the role. Okay, so first the what. Google translated this and validated by Nan. So I think that's a correct translation. Okay. Normally, when we do peering, so we go ahead with the interconnection, but basically you need your ASN and IP address to get things started. This is probably the most basic part that we normally leave out when we get requests for peering, and then we end up that they don't have their own resource. So you need to get that first. Okay, and then defining peering basically. So I tried to be in teacher mode. So first in noun. So it's a mutual, voluntary engagement to exchange traffic. Again, no peer pressure. And then we go to the verb. So I mean, it's not just defining it. You have to do it. It's the act of exchanging traffic, basically. And an adjective, so it complements beyond IP traffic. So there's customer experience, revenue, costs, and perception, etc. And normally, when the word peering came out, it became a buzzword. So it's just, it's going to do everything, save everything, etc. So let's not do that for compliance or hype, or to be part of a report that just makes a paper look good. Okay, so a bit of a background. Private peering basically is just bilateral, network 1 to network 2, and that's it, to exchange for traffic. The next one will be public peering. So this involves a lot of networks exchanging normally to an IXP. So everything is aggregated in the IXP and you exchange your traffic basically from there. As an analogy, went around the city. So this, on that part, in a supermarket, so you can see a lot of beer. So that can be a beer exchange point. So you don't need to go everywhere, just go to the car. And if you like to eat something or add some dips, it can be a chili exchange point. So it's up to you. The idea is everything's there. You don't need to go and hunt them everywhere. So that saves you actually infrastructure costs. So why? Why do we do this? There are actually many benefits. So it depends on how you look at it. So I try to break it down. There's a network side. There's also a business side to it. So network is cost, optimal routing, efficient management, and shorter path. For the business, also there's cost, but they have a different definitions. Of course, efficiency, there's revenue, there's better service, and faster access. So you normally translate it to the one who's reading it, or basically the one you need to explain this whole peering scenario. And it's also two-way for the user and the peer. For the user, of course, again, improve access and lower latency, gaming and chat and stuff. But for the peer, it makes it easier for them, especially if you know who you're talking to. And then, unlike any other engagement, normally peering is very informal. So no contracts required, ideally. But if you have that, depending on your peer, then you have to go through that one. And the last one probably is mostly, it's very conceived as settlement-free. But we need to define that because there's always costs involved. And sometimes that's the main hurdle because there's a need to address cost recovery as well. So, but basically peering, each network or provider covers their own costs, and then you get an ROI or revenue from the service that you actually get from your services and the users per se. Okay, so what if you don't do that? Then it's like, there's a saying that you'll miss something if you don't do it. So you'll never know, actually. Like in playing like maybe basketball, you'll never know if you can make the shot if you don't take the shot. So something like that. And then you also miss the benefits we mentioned earlier. And then I added this one. There's no work-life balance. So this is my justification to work-life balance. Okay, so there's this networking socials. It's actually more of a reward. The problem with this one is a lot of people, when we do meetings, they don't post the actual meetings. They post the fun stuff. So when I go back, so actually, where did you come from? I came from a conference. Oh, I think you really had a good time there. So it's very hard to justify. So maybe as a request, let's try to post some serious stuff, but still more of this one, of course. And then we go to the where and when. Okay. So where? Normally it's the location. So common locations you normally see It can be either domestic or international. You can do it in a private or public. But where you look, the common ones we go to is PeeringDB or IXP DB. Of course, it depends on your traffic profile, but the key here is you need to have your record. Some of the partners or peers would require you to have this, and this is basically public information. Like the one earlier, I said, I mean, nobody will find you or know that you exist if you don't have a record. And there are other references aside from PeeringDB. There are other databases you can make use of that. Okay. You can also go to peering events related to the work-life balance concept. Internet summits, NOG events, forums, and meetings. And then the advantage for that one is if you actually do a peering engagement, you might get a real-time decision to turn up the session. And then a bonus, then again, there's the socials. Like this one, we are now here at the EPICO 2024 Summit, and the best place to look at that one is the NSRC calendar. So again, NSRC is one of the places you want to see the next events, but there are other references as well. Okay, when to peer? There's really no magic formula for this one. But again, we're talking about real-time traffic. And this is your traffic. This is your traffic being better, improved, or you need to wait. So it's basically up to you. But then again, there are other considerations like resources, budget. You need to think of the whole picture and then eventually come up with the idea on how to proceed with that and when. Okay. So the who. The who now goes to the peering manager. Okay. When you say peering, when I started, it's really more of a technical role, but eventually I figured out that it's more than that. This is probably a simple representation, but I think there are other sides to it. I just use the coin because it has two sides. So for simplicity's sake, we have the tech and business perspective. Okay, but who is the peering manager and what does he actually do? Normally, he is the main point of contact. Everything aggregates to that person. He arranges, execute, endorse internally and externally all interconnection-related initiatives. And it's also a multidisciplined approach. So he has technical, business, commercial, project management, communications, etc., like all into one, I think. And of course, he needs to be exposed and very much familiar to the internet community, giving both feedback and insights. Okay. Additional roles is he sets basically the direction and recommendation internally in his organization about network improvements and those stuff, because that's mainly what impacts he provides the company. And then he also performs knowledge sharing, of course, internally. As I found this out, there are probably 1 to 2% in your company that understands what you actually do. And if you have that reporting line, it's very hard to justify. And the metric of peering is not really a common standard in companies, especially for commercial companies. It's always based on revenue and maybe cost. And the only way to prove that sometimes is to turn peering off. And I don't think you want to end up in that situations. And again, next is the peering role is continuous evolution. I see it now as it tackles the overall hygiene of an operator to covering the whole internet ecosystem. And that goes all the way to strategy, infra, business, cost, revenue, and community. And a more specific look in Asia. So Philippines, I'm from Manila, so it's Asia. It's not an official role. It's not even a recognized role in the organization. But regardless of that, those who enjoy doing it because they know the impact still does it. And sometimes also it's an additional function to a current role. So basically it's not dedicated. And sometimes worse, it's a by the way thing when it's your free time or you have a free time, then that's the time you do it. But again, it has evolved a lot. And at this time, there are other roles that came up. So an evolution to the peering role. It's not limited already to peering. So it covers all related activities to peering and interconnection. So it's also a multidiscipline function. And historically, that was a disadvantage because you can focus on your specific task. But now it became an advantage because you see the bigger picture. And you know now what to improve on specific segments in your organization, not just the network. So you influence builds, etc., including the subsea and the domestic infrastructure. Okay. There's also an extended role. So the peering functions goes beyond the core network already. So for network operators or providers who have other services like broadband, mobile, you have a view now of the entire infrastructure, and then you can recommend and influence now how it's supposed to be. This also extends to CDN, caching, localization, and it becomes part of the equation. And the good question that comes up every time is, what does actually your caching and localization does? Let's turn it off, and then let's see what happens. And then you see me in a different role, or I go to jail. And then there's also an advocacy part. So I think that's what's happening right here now. There's this community consideration, very much mindful of the external impact, like what we have now. We do sharing. We learn from each other, and then it's a continuous involvement of the global landscape. That's why you attend the conferences like Apricot and peering forums and NOGs. And then we go to the how. So the how also covers two sides. There's also a business and technical perspective. So I mean, from a commercial perspective, why do you need that? Is it faster? Is it you need to do a common location, and there's the cost implication. And there's an equivalent counterpart from a technical perspective that answers actually those business aspects. So again, it's up to you on how you do your write-up internally in order to justify what you need to do that actually benefits the company as a whole. Then you need to do your homework as well. So you just can't turn up peering because you like to, or you woke up happy and then just turned up. So sometimes there are considerations like you analyze your traffic. So you check this strategically where you need to peer. And then you identify. Sometimes you just peer because they have an open peering policy, but actually the traffic you're getting is like 10 networks behind that guy. So probably you need to understand that. And then you need to know your resources, capabilities. So you don't peer, let's say in Hong Kong, because you have your presence there, but the ISP or network you want to get through is in your country. So you don't need to bring traffic all the way out and then go back next door. So it doesn't make sense. And there's also an assessment on a business impact. This is normally cost related. Then you do your peering strategy that considers the policy and prioritization, basically always related to cost. And then last one will be you attend the peering networking events to ensure you have your work-life balance. Okay. And then part of doing your homework as your peer, so you also need to understand your peer. It's policy, business direction. Normally, what is it for them? Why do you need to peer with you? So those are some questions that you need to also case. And then, what if it doesn't happen? So you need to have a plan B, C, D as backup. In some cases, it's not as informal as you want it to be. You might need to execute a peering agreement. You might need to involve other teams. Normally, you need to do, especially in actual implementation. And then there are really some paperworks involved because you need to document this. And this is a sample of peering requests. This is not really a standard, but the basic idea here is you treat it as you're receiving it. So what do you want to see in the request? So provide all the basic information and assess based on your metrics. So preparing to peer, this is a basic diagram like from point A to point B, then you connect to a DC, then your IX is there or your partner is there, and then you need to transport. So we actually did that in here. The initial session is for ISP personals, and then you can get actually templates. So of course I need to use my template. And since you're here, you submit your own peer personals, and then the best idea there is to know who to talk to. That's why most of the time we request for photos. Like we had a lot of questions here. Can I meet the peering guy from? We don't know what he look like. Then next time submit a nice photo. Okay. Okay. And then maybe the final one is. This is the most common I've seen because they peer based on compliance. They peer, okay, they did the physical peering and that's it. It's done. No, you need to set up your policy. You need to configure it and you need to exchange traffic. That's why peering is geometry. It's equally important. It may be not complete, but the idea is to you do it end to end. Or it doesn't mean, why do you have to actually go through all the trouble to do it and you're not exchanging traffic anyway? Okay. At the end, I'm not sure if it's peer pressure actually. You have to decide on your own. But it's all about relationship. So you understand the norms, the cultural differences. It may not be as how you want it to be because you have a different understanding on that. And then you have to respect each other's policy. You can influence them, but you need to respect it, of course. And don't forget to have fun. And then question here is, why are we here if not to make the internet better? Thank you. Question?
Does anyone have any questions for Achi? Okay, if not, thank you, Achi.
Thank you.
We have one more speaker and then the peering personas, and then we'll end today's session. Our next speaker is Paul, and Paul will be talking about sustainability of community-driven IXPs. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Isabel. Sawadee krap, everyone. Good evening to you. Today my topic is about sustainability of community-driven IXP. Before that, I would like to put up some disclaimer. So I would like to thank to ISOC for support me to running this research. At the same time, I also want to thanks to all the IXP that involved that doing this questionnaire with me. Thank you for your time because you really spent a lot of time talking to me and understand the history. Right. Today we go through these 5 different key topics over here. We will start with kicking start of a community-driven IXP. So usually before you start to build your own IXP, so you need to identify your startup cost. And most of the IXP will have the common objective, which is want to have a better performance on the network for the members and lower latencies and also lower costs, because at this moment we have a very high conversion of ringgit to USD. So this will help the local companies to reduce their transit if they connected to your ISP. So this will be the key objective for you to attract the members. And also for the structure of the ISP, there are several structures. So they are member operated. They could be formed by a group of ISP, and also can be academia and a group of community, like for example, a group of people who doing hosting, who like to run their own ISP. And your target member usually is a ISP, OTT, cloud service provider, CDNs, and all that, and also from the member that who like to reduce their cost for the network. And also, before you start off your ISP, you need to identify the equipment you need to use, right? Currently is, I think after COVID, right now is a very good mix, because that some members only can go with a 10 gig of port because of the equipment, and some of the OTT are asking for 100 gig. So you need to work on your cost and strike a balance and look for the right equipment. And also, one of the things you need to consider is what data centers you need to pick for your IXP, because that you will know better for the data center. For example, like which data center have more service provider to build a POP over there, and also try to understand that whether the data center can cater for your need. For example, that let's say you would like to have a mid room or the panel for the member to connect. Easy for you to manage your ISP, so that you have to take into consideration as well. And some of the costs that usually people might not aware of is a local loop. Local loop in the different countries have a different price. Some is very low, some is controlled by the incumbents and all that. So you need to find a cost for your local loop. This is very important. And also the cross-connect inter-building, for example, like let's say the data center have different floors, then you might want to consider what is the recurring cost for the cabling, all right? And also the other potentials incentive of green energy data center. So you might be able to approach this type of data center, because that currently is ESG is the thing right now. So you might get a very good pricing or incentive for that. We move on to the financial model. Okay, to start off with ISP is not easy. We all know that. So as I mentioned earlier, you have to work out your cost to run for your ISP and all that, right? Then secondly, that you might start to look for funding, pitch your objective for your ISP and all that, and try to look for the associations to support your ISP, but they won't support you for long, okay, from the survey that I conduct. So you also need to show that how long you need them to support you, and after that, whether or not you can sustain on running the ISP. Other than that, I think some of the places that if you are able to provide the free port charges, but like I said, you work on your financial plan, then you can see that whether you can provide a free port or you have to charge a member fees. So you have to work it out on your cost. And just always remember that the objective for your ISP is to help the members in your ISP to reduce the cost and also improve the performance of the network. All right. And one of the challenge that for the community-driven ISP is usually you start with a very small team. From the interviews I conduct, there are ISP that have only one engineer running for like 5 to 8 years. All right, so you don't be surprised that until today you only see like 2 engineers running the ISP, or only 2% running for the ISP. Okay, and when do you grow your team members? You only can grow that when your business is growing, when your member is growing. So you need to consider that is a very lonely journey sometimes, because I see like some of the folks over here, they still have like 2-man kind of running operations. And beside that, I think that I also have a chat with the ISP, like, well, what are the things that they can do to rope in more revenue? I think one of the things that you can provide the training and awareness program. For example, in certain countries that most of the operators, not to say the operators for the ISP, like for example, like cloud providers and all that, hosting providers, they do not know how to do BGP peering. So usually like they go to the racks to get the bandwidth and get the internet working, right? So the training will let them know that why is the time that you need to build your own network, get your ASN, and the benefit of doing peering or connect to the ISP. And one of the things that I always heard about is the training on like the tools that ISP use. For example, like I have conduct 1 or 2 training on how to use BERT and all that. And I think that is extra revenue that ISP can get. All right. Type of community-driven ISP. So the structures, as I mentioned before, it can be these 4 types, or there are some also like community that doing for non-profit or for fun. When I say for fun, it's not like they're doing like for no reason, but the objective is try to prove that how many members they can rope in and all that. All right. And one of the things to consider when you started this off is you want to register your ISP as a non-profit organizations. Right, there's reason for that because that most of the countries that you can get some tax exemption when you buy equipments, hardwares and all that. And also you might be able to access to the funding because that some of the association will fund your projects if you are the non-profit organization. Also that when you register as non-profit, you have a clear message to the members as well, is you are not revenue centric, so you are not revenue centric, and also you're not looking for high return. So your objective is building the network and building the community. Once you build the network, the community will come to you, right? And another possibility is like you may avoid turning the community run ISP into commercial ISP, because once you are in a non-profit organizations, some of the countries you have the rules or the laws to be protected. You cannot sell it out or buy out from someone, but it might be different from other countries. All right. Usually, when you start with a community-driven ISP, you will start more, and don't be shy to come to event like this, making friends and asking the help from other members. All right. Other than that, I think. Can I have a show of hands that anyone having like challenge of getting engineers to run their network and things like that? No, everyone is doing okay, or the hand is lazy to lift up. Okay, I realize that we are having challenge of getting the younger generations to be engineers. So I think one of the things that we can do is we try to involve university and also academia. We share the knowledge on them how to do like building ISP and doing something fun, because I realize that they might not be having, they might not find the objective or the challenge to run something. So if we can involve university and all that, it will be good. And the other thing is like you also can encourage on women in tech, getting women to involve. Like for example, last 2 years ago, when in Minot, we also have this session of women in tech. So we're trying to encourage the women engineer to stand up, to share their knowledge and all that. So they might not be limited to just involved in operation. They can be the board member for your ISP as well. All right, like Archie mentioned earlier, so you need to find a work-life balance. So always come out to meet your peers and start to build relationship with your peers and the people over here. So I also find out one thing, that people who start the ISP, right, is they have a very, very strong passions. Because I talked to one of the ISP operator, he helped, when started up, he helped as a part-time. You know, he had a full-time job, he also helped to run an ISP until like more than 20 years. So I really salute him. And also, to start off the ISP, there's a lot of open source tools over there that you can start with. For example, I mentioned earlier there are BERT. Some of it might not recommend to run that, but that is a good start. And also they have tools like ISP managers to create a member portal, so you don't actually need to build something from scratch. And in my experience, I also help a few ISP to configure and install ISP manager, which is a great tool. All right. And also, always start with an open peering policy in your ISP. And as I mentioned, that we should focus on the members' benefit. And the local traffic peering will be the priority. You know, try to get everyone to peer in your ISP, and make sure that members know how to, as you mentioned, how to be a peer and all that. There is another training that we can give to the community. We also can help like the smaller provider when they grow big. Then we also can, since we're in the community, we can connect them with the OTT or the CDN, because some of them might not have the contact or the knowledge how to reach out to them. right? I think the main challenge is upgrade, especially after the pandemic, when our network has been like triple-fold kind of grow. For the community-driven ISP, I think the main challenge is the source of funding. So some of them also having challenge like upgrading to 100 gig of port. Okay, and also when the time goes by, some of the member might have a higher expectation, you know, like starting asking for SLA and all that. Most of the time, the capacity cannot scale as expected because like they don't have the equipment, they don't have the sort of funding to buy the equipment. Okay, and also one of the challenges is they have more commercial run ISP in the regions, but that doesn't mean that they cannot build it because that they might know the local loop service providers, communities, members, the people better in local. I see that also a good thing because that it might give you a challenge to make the ISP to run better because that there's competitions in there. Okay. The other thing is commercial driven to community driven to commercial. So when do you move from commercial driven, community driven to that should be the community driven to commercials? I think you should always go back to objective, ask yourself, do you want to go into be the commercial ISP? Most of the interview I conduct, I think they still have the passions to remain as it is, to run as the community driven ISP. All right, thank you. And I would like to talk more with the ISP in the room. So if you have time to spend with me, please don't forget to contact me so we can speak more because I really, after research, I put on the paper. So there will be a lot of information can be shared with the community as well. All right, the next one will be the questions.
Does anyone have questions for Paul? Michelle, what are you saying? What are you mouthing?
Why are you smiling? Yes, Matasaka-san.
Yeah, I'm Masaka from JPX. So it's just a comment. So as a steering committee of APX Association. So yeah, as everyone knows, there are many member-driven IXP, especially in the Asia-Pacific region. So and joining to the APIX Association, it's so appreciated, especially in Asia-Pacific region. So just a comment.
Thank you. So thank you everyone in the APAC region. Any more questions?
Any more questions?
All right, Kokung Kap. Okay, please.
Vivin from Controllers. So my question is more like, when we were putting up an exchange 10 years back, we got a lot of support from the community, maybe policies, tools, etc., and also support even to say that, oh, if you want a hardware, we can give it to you, things like that. Even APNIC had a policy at that time. You can have IP, AS numbers, etc., directly from APNIC. So today, if there is anyone want to start an exchange in the Asia Pacific or any other region, is there any predefined set of things that they get, like at least like IP or IS number or something, or even hardware support?
I think that is a good question, but can anyone in the room that answer his questions? Because to be honest, I might not be feeding you the right information because I rely on the ISP giving.
Happy to respond to that. Aftab Siddiqui, representing Internet Society, and I can talk on behalf of APNIC as well. That APNIC, Internet Society, APNIC Foundation, and APIX has a MAU where we have agreed to support any existing or new IXP in the region. So if you want to upgrade your IXP, if you want to build a new IXP, you can reach out to any one of us, either APNIC or ISOC or APIX. We are happy to help, whether it is equipment upgrade, it is new equipment, training, or policy development policies. We have an open and clear policy for that. Happy to help and engage with you.
Thank you, Aftab. Hi, Nishal.
Hi, Paul. That's loud. I cannot speak on behalf of APNIC. I would never, ever try that. But I can speak on behalf of PCH, who's been doing this for about 30 years now. We're very happy to help any developing internet exchange point. You can reach out to me for hardware. There's about 4 or 5 other PCH folks all here. We're happy to help you with training. We're happy to help you with community building, hardware, that sort of thing. Find us. We're not difficult to spot. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Nishal. Nishal, another help from PCH. Hi.
Hi, Narelle Clark from the Internet Association of Australia. We run IX Australia, but we also run the New Zealand Internet Exchanges. So that's another way of doing it. We worked with NZIX to set up a whole new not-for-profit association, and they then outsource their operations to us, their not-for-profit brothers and sisters across the ditch. And that's another really good way that we've been able to help them grow and reach critical mass, because they've been able to operate from day one at a professional level by using a proper engineering team and support team. Here we are.
Yep. Narelle also run a very successful IXP.
Yeah. 7.
Thank you, Narelle.
Hi there, Ed De Lange from Inkzid in South Africa. So a little bit of a different market, but this might be a slightly baited question, but it almost feels like, what's the point these days to start new community IX if somewhere down the line, sometimes not far down the line even, there's just going to be one of the big commercial IXs coming through and either try and buy you out, which we've seen happen in some cases, or just bully you out in other cases. Any opinions on that?
Yep. Also the good questions. Anyone on the floor can answer that?
Yeah, Aftab Siddiqui, I would say, Narelle is running. I would say, look at Australia. Who wants to buy? So, I mean, there are cases. I understand that. I agree with your point. I'm not dismissing it. It is a reality. In many developing countries, that is a reality. But what we have seen, at least living in Australia, what I have seen is an amazing success model. That success model is working in some countries, but it is a challenge in different parts of the world. And I would say sometimes competition is better. They are our friends. They are part of the community as well. They run it commercially in a different manner. But you can learn from them and say, well, I can give you slightly different model, but it's a healthy competition for the community, I would say. But yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah, go on.
Sometimes it's healthy. I don't always think the way some people do it is very healthy, as we've seen in some region, some IXs in our area where it's become borderline nasty. But yeah, look, in our country, it's fine. There's a free commercialized IX, or well, non-profit IX and the community-run IX. So it works well in some places, but I just see in some places where new people start, it's a bit more difficult.
Thank you.
We've been around for quite a while, so we have that experience, and a lot of our staff and board are really seasoned professionals in the internet industry. So we've just been doing it well. And I mean, that might be sort of talking ourselves up a bit, but that I think is the crux of it. If you do it well, you stay well plugged into your community. You give them what they need. You work with them to make sure you keep on giving them what they need, and do the other things too, like the social stuff that Archie mentioned. I think gives everybody some value and keeps them sticky, and they'll stick with you through the good times and bad. Sure, there is some bad behaviour in other fronts, but hey, every industry has that sort of crap, and if you rise above it, work well, and work also with the regulators, perhaps that can keep things going well.
Thank you, Narelle. I will take one last question, then move to a peering personal, shall we? Yep.
It's not a question, just extending it. Matthew from LeapTel, but I'm actually the chair of the board of IAA. Just to give an ISP perspective, ISPs actually want more than one well-working IX in a location. Unfortunately, we know things go wrong, and we want the other one there to back us up when things do go wrong and to support each other. So it shouldn't just be about competition between IXs, it's about growing the community and the internet resilience in that area together.
Okay, I really appreciate everyone from the floor on the comments. I accidentally turned into like 5-minute panel sessions. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Paul. I would like to invite Matt to now come and moderate the peering personas. So IXPs, data centers, and transport, if you could line up over there in alphabetical order.
With a twist, because we do IXPs first, then data centers, then transport. So you got to figure out your alphabetical order. I've apparently been so successful with my boy band act that I've been offered a moderator role now. So please line up. Here's the order. So let's get M6 on the stage.
Hi, I'm Petra from M6. Obviously, it's not me on the photo, but probably you know me already. We started in Amsterdam in the Netherlands 30 years ago. So this year is our anniversary year, so we are very proud that we are there for such a long time. And last week we reached a peak traffic there of 12 terabit per second, so going okay. We expanded meanwhile globally as well. So in Asia we are present now in Hong Kong, Singapore, Bangkok, and soon in Manila as well. And we have several locations in India. I'm also responsible for organizing the Global Peering Forum and the European Peering Forum. And for that event, we are looking for sponsors, because without sponsors, unfortunately, we cannot organize the events. So if you would like to sponsor, please come visit our stand and visit our stand as well to talk about peering. Thank you.
Thanks, Petra. Just in time. Let's get BBIX, and we got 20 minutes and 45 of you, so let's...
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Araki from BBIX. We have so many locations in Asia and also the US and Europe, especially, of course, in Thailand. We have 4 locations in Bangkok area. We have True IDC, Munton, and NT Ban Lac, TCCT. Actually, we are inside of the TCCT, NTT Bangkok 1, and also we opened the telehouse Bangkok last year. So we hope you to come to connect with us. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. BizNet. You see, some people are up here more than once.
Hello everyone, I'm Agus from BizNet Internet Exchange. Currently we are located in the major city in Indonesia, so also we are located in the SAM data center, the biggest data center in Jakarta. Our connected ISN now is 195, peak traffic is about 500 gig. Thank you.
All righty, BKNX. Another repeat performance.
Hi again, everyone. I'm Nan from BKNX. So we run neutral internet exchange for 10 years. Originally, we have present in Bangkok, but we just opened the regional exchange in Chiang Mai currently. In Bangkok, we have 7 locations. Telehouse Bangkok is just the new one, but for Chiang Mai, we have just 2. So many information you can find on PeeringDB, but for our update, we just open AS112 service as well as PTP214 on Bangkok platform, as well as common service like CDN DNS on Chiang Mai too. And we also have the remote peering partner with our Japan team, JPX and JPNAP, as well as PCC Console Connect. And the last one, we will have a peering forum, BKNX peering forum, again in Bangkok in the end of May 13 and 31. So please save the date for it. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Nan. DKIX India.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are spread across 5 locations as of now, with greater than 600 customers available. interconnection platform with Cloud Exchange, Maps, and peering as well. We have Bangalore to come up with. I'm available outside here. My name is Sudhir Kundar. Glad to catch up with you from now to the 1st. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's the one we like, 30 seconds. DKIX Indonesia.
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Fitria from DKIX Indonesia. DKIX is introduced a world-class internet exchange with best-in-class peering and interconnection platform. Our first launch in following Jakarta locations, which are in NTT JK2 and MDC JK2 Cyber 1, I mean. So we'll operate both our DKIX Jakarta location as the local exchange and our DKIX Asian Exchange Fabric. We very much looking forward to peer with you in Jakarta. My contact is available on the slide. Just drop a message and let's discuss. Happy peering, thank you.
Thank you. Another DKIX, Malaysia.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry, DKIX is taking 3 slots. Yep. So in Malaysia, actually, we are connected through 3 metros, 3 major metros, which is in Penang, Kuala Lumpur, and JB. So in JB, we are peering in our ASEAN peer. So you can peer it through our ASEAN within the 3 metros as well. So below is my contact, and anything you can just WhatsApp me or just email me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And no more DKIX.
Good afternoon. I am Raphael. I used to work for the evil empire. Now I've turned into the, bright side, I guess. So we, just for the record, we've never squeezed out any incumbent IXPs, community IXPs. We have always worked with them to give our customers a choice of a commercially run IXP in our countries as well. We have our IX in Jakarta, and we are thinking about a IX in Manila. So we haven't quite decided where to do our event yet, but we'll definitely let you know. And again, working with all our excellent partners in each country. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Edge Next IX. I hope I pronounced that right. Not there? Well, you can see the information on the slide in 2 places in Jakarta. Equinix. I'm not using Raf's name for you.
Hello everyone, Abhishek here from Equinix. So we are operating in ASN 24115, and we are having almost like 2,300 plus unique ASN in our platform. Peak traffic globally is around 25 terabytes, and part of that 60% traffic is basically from Asia. We are actually just launched in Mumbai last year, and we have planned to launch in a few more markets by end of this year. Anything related to the peering DB information is available with our ASN number, and if you scan this QR code, it will take you to the ix.equinix.com, where you can get the more detail about our presence, traffic pattern, all the details there. And additionally, like we have our booth outside and our connectivity team just sitting outside there. So please reach out to any one of them, or me, myself, like we can happy to help all the customer about that. Thank you.
Thank you. And GetFX.
Hi everyone, my name's Fraser. I'm from GetFX. So we're the largest internet exchange in the Philippines. Actually peaking at about 315 gigs now on GetFX Manila. We're located in all of the major data centers. Always looking to expand those. So If there's facilities that we're not in, please let us know. We have GetaFix Cebu, which is sort of up and coming for the regional, and GetaFix Davao, sort of brand new, only a few members. If you need remote peering, we can offer that in Singapore, Hong Kong, or Tokyo. Thanks.
Thank you. Another globe.
I'll take my time this time so you can take proper photos as part of the work-life balance. So I'm Achi from Globe Telecom. This is my day job. We also operate an IX. Philippines is an archipelago, so we have presence in Manila, Cebu, Davao, and other places. Piling DB entry are there. You can check that. And if you want to go to the exchange, just send me an email. Thank you.
Oh, you could have tried harder. Guam IX, please.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jose Santiago from Guam Exchange. We're running Guam IX. You'll notice a lot of it says ongoing to be determined because we don't exist yet, but we're announcing it. We're going to hit the ground strong coming in June 2024. See you guys there, peering everything.
All right, thank you. HKIX.
Hello, I'm Kenneth Chen from Hong Kong IX. We have more than 350 participants. You can scan the QR code to see the full list, and our information is already on Peering DB. Please feel free to check it out. Thank you.
Thank you. That was another 15-second one. IX Australia.
Hi, it's Narelle from IX Australia, the Internet Association of Australia, with some great masks for when you have to head outside in the pollution of Bangkok. They've been specially rated for Australian bushfires, so this will keep you good, or the occasional pandemic. But yes, we now have 7 IXs, which is the reason why I wanted to jump up and let you know. We opened another one this week on Monday in Tasmania, so just off the coast of mainland Australia in that Apple Isle, Tasmania, to complement the other 6 we've already got. And of course, we do help out the folks across the ditch in New Zealand. We cracked the terabit mark last year, so we pull in aggregate over a terabit per second throughout the lot, although that of course does ebb and flow as things happen. And we also released recently 400 gig ports in our biggest exchange in Sydney. So come peer with us. Happy peering.
Thank you. All right, now it's the Japanese section. JCIX.
Oh, hi there. I am Yuto from JCIX. JCIX is a Japan community internet exchange. JCIX launched just a couple of weeks ago. It's a community-based IXP, first time in Japan. Our mission is contributing a community of the engineers where people can work together, solving technical issues and empowering each other. Location currently limited in Tokyo area, but we have metal backbone with more than 3 POPs in Tokyo. For example, NTT Data Otemachi, Otemachi Place West Tower, and at Tokyo CC1. Regardless of companies or organizations, please tell me us. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, I was wrong. Jakarta X snuck in between the Japanese ones, so. All right, fair enough. I mean, it's all good. We stick with the Japanese team.
Japanese guy, representative of JKDIX. I'm Togashi from JKDIX, and updated part is written in a red character. Last year, we have expanded our POP in Bali, Surabaya, Yogyakarta, Bandung, Makassar, almost everywhere in Indonesia. And JKDIX main part in Jakarta marked 1 tera BPS last year. It was doubled from the 2023, and we are expecting this traffic get double again 2024. It means that it will mark 2 tera bps in this year. And a member of the JKDIX now hits the 550, so that is one of the biggest in Indonesia. Yeah, that's it. We are welcoming you guys to connect our IX. Happy peering.
Thank you. All righty, JPIX.
Hello everyone, my name is Ma. I'm JPIX Peering Coordinator. JPIX established and the first commercial internet exchange in Japan, 1997. We have both in Tokyo, Osaka, and Fukuoka. Our traffic increase is still incredible this year. We are proud to inform you that March traffic level hitting 2 terabits in Tokyo and 1 terabit in Osaka. And we hold users meeting twice a year in July and December. Last July, we started a partnership with Bikinix, and our remote peering service from Bangkok to Tokyo will be coming soon. So welcome to join us. We will provide you the best peering experience in Japan. If you have any questions, please contact me and our team members. Thank you.
All right, that's a big claim. Let's see what JPNet wants to say to that.
Hi everyone, this is Chloe from JPNet. JPNet is one of the biggest IXP in Japan, which operates 5 independent interconnection internet in Tokyo, Osaka, Fukuoka, Sendai, and Sapporo as a traffic exchange platform. And also, you could easily peer with others through our strong point of presence with 11 POPs in Tokyo, 5 POPs in Osaka, 2 in Fukuoka, 1 in Sendai, and 1 in Sapporo. Good news is we launched a new location, which is Sapporo in last November. And also, we've got 260 AS members. And also, we have already achieved 7 terabytes. And our remote peering was supported by our trusted reseller, which is IPTP, PCCWG, and the Kings, etc. So if you are interested in JPNet, please contact us via the email. Thank you. Happy peering.
Thank you. All righty, Kings.
Hi everyone, this is Sean from Kings. For those who doesn't know well about Kings, it's a network company that providing co-location, internet, transit, and etc. And then since we're based on IX company, so we do provide the IX, of course. So our pub, it's located in Kings Dogo, Kasan, and Bundang, which are all in Seoul. And then we have another one coming this August, Kings Gwacheon, which is near Seoul as well. And then we have 83 ASNs with 850 gigs for peak traffic. If you have any questions regarding the peering or the new data center, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Lonab. Oh, quick.
Hello everyone, I'm Will from LONAP. I'm honoured to stand in the queue between my colleagues from Korea and Myanmar, but our nearest and only exchange is about 10,000 kilometres away in the United Kingdom. We're present in all the important data centres in London. We do 1.4 terabits of traffic at peak, and our pricing, etc., is all open on the website because we are a not-for-profit neutral IX. Please talk to me if you're interested in peering in London. Thank you.
Thanks, Will. The Mariana Island IX, represented by Guam.
Afternoon, everyone. Hello. My name is Ronald Marfega. I'm from the University of Guam. We manage MARIX, the Marianas Internet Exchange. Right now, we have about 10 ASNs with us, and we are located in the UOG data center. Thank you, and happy to be here.
Thank you for keeping it quick. Myanmar.
Hello everyone, I'm Kamkan Jo from Myanmar Internet Exchange MMIs. Currently we have 2 locations in Myanmar and 1 remote site. In Yangon side we have 90 kids and in Manali side we have 50 kids. Currently we have DNS and construction in our service. Thank you for hearing.
Thank you. NYX.
Hi everyone, my name is Mohan. I'm from Malaysia Internet Exchange, the largest internet exchange and non-profit organization in Malaysia. So we have our ASN number is 55822. We are present in KL, 4 locations in Cyberjaya, Johor, and Kuching. Recently, we have implemented speed test server and also IXP manager and happy peering.
Thank you. The Nixie. No Nixie? Well, the information is on the slide. And NPIX. We're now officially into overtime. Come on.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Divya with the Internet Exchange of Nepal. So we have 2 locations in Kathmandu Valley, one in the Kathmandu city, another in Lalitpur. We have 2 POPs in Data Hub and Access World. So after all the years of hardship running as a community-based exchange point, we finally managed to get into a proper data center now at both locations. We have 46 ASNs connected in the Kathmandu POP and 30 in the Lalitpur one. And the peak traffic is 54 Gbps in Kathmandu and 16 Gbps in Lalitpur. A little bit of update about us. We're setting up an Emerald server, and also we are trying to reform our bylaws to welcome international peers to come to Nepal and peer. Thank you.
Thank you. NYX.
Good afternoon. My name is Akio from NYX. Some updates are one of our customers, Disney Streaming. They are currently appearing at New York only. However, they are joining our Los Angeles locations. They're going to live probably in 2 weeks. They're happy to appear with Asian networks. In New York, we're going to support 400 gig. In Los Angeles, we're going to add more 100 gig port capacity early next year. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. SGIX.
Good afternoon. I'm Ik Hong from SGX. SGX is a not-for-profit IX in Singapore. We have presence in 18 data centers in Singapore. Currently, our peak traffic just crossed 3 terabytes last month. Anything, you can just contact us for appearing in Singapore. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Sunny Vision.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Coco from Sunnyvision. Sunnyvision is the largest DC data center provider in Hong Kong, and we are also the one and the only one DC operators own and operate a neutral cable landing station in Hong Kong. Our ASN number is 9729-9729, and our peering policy is open. Now, our platform, there are over 215 ISP all over the world, and we also host some of the content, including global and China. So please feel free to peering with us. So for any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me, Tommy, or Andrew. Thanks very much.
Thank you. All right, Thailand IX.
สวัสดีค่ะ Welcome all to Thailand. I'm B from Thailand IX. AS number 4652. We have 3 locations in Thailand located at Bangkok and Nonthaburi. The first one is NT Bang Rak Tower, and the second one is NT Nonthaburi Telecommunication Center, and the last one is Telehouse Bangkok. We have 67 members connect with us, and the traffic is more than 300 gigs. You can find more information on PeeringDB, and for the contact person, you can contact Thairat, our staff at the booth, or me, and you can send email to peering@th.is.net. Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you. So now we have Raunak from Extreme, whose slide didn't make it, but you can do a free form. No, this is next. So while we're scrolling back to the people that missed their slot, Raunak can do his free form one.
I represent Extreme IX. I run it. We are present in 6 cities in India: Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, Hyderabad, Kolkata, and Bangalore. A total about 40 plus POPs in the country. Hyderabad and Bangalore are connected to Mumbai over NLDs. So we can provide you connectivity to Extreme IX Mumbai from both Bangalore and Hyderabad also. Not much to say. This is the last slide. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now we have one latecomer who didn't make their slide. Please, it's next. Okay, go for it. Yeah.
Hi, good evening, everyone. First of all, I'm so sorry. I skipped this slide sometime back. So we are a new IXP in Indonesia, started our journey in Indonesia, which is one of the, it's known as a, digital savvy country or nation, right, in Asia Pac, right? We stand in the, we have a good eyeball density over there, right? And enormous number of digital initiatives which has been taken by government of Indonesia. So firstly, EdgeNext, we have 2 POPs. We started 7-8 months back. We have 2 POPs. One is in TB Sumatupang, Jakarta, and one is in KPPTI, which is a subsea cable landing SLT, which sits there in KPPTI. We have 18 plus unique ASNs which has already been connected, and we have peak traffic something around 15 Gbps plus. And I would like to thank you, the community members, who have shown their keen to connect to this IX. Thank you so much. This is the AS number, what we have, and we would like you to connect to our IX. Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, that was the longest one for last. Now we skip to the data centers. Oh, no, we have another latecomer, Time.
Thanks, mate, for the last one. I will do the closing for the peering personnel today. Same as my CEO, that we will be closing on Friday. So my name is Nasrul, and our AS is 9930 from time.com. It's a Malaysia ISP. So our traffic profile is eyeballs, and volume is 1 tera and growing. we keep our peering policy open, and you can find out us at PeeringDB and contact us by below emails. Thanks.
Thank you. Sadly, that's not the closing yet. We still have the data centers. While we're scrolling. Here we go. This list is slightly shorter, so let's get it done and over with so we can find the beer. Area 31, oh, sorry. Area 31, please. That's how we keep it quick, by not being here. At Tokyo.
Hello everyone, nice to meet you here. I'm Pei-Ling from Tokyo, and yeah, I'm a little bit nervous. As you can see, most of our data center provide very excellent connectivity. And here, I would like to give you a spotlight on our new data center, CC1, and it's set to open October this year, and we will have JPIX, JPNAP, and BBIX to be on site at CC3, and we are also building able to connect CC3 to our flagship data center, CC1. So the most important thing is that at Tokyo, we would like to contribute to peering society. So we will try to make our data center to be more, to have better connectivity. Yeah, I think that would be all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Digital Edge, another repeat performance.
Hey guys, I just want to speak honestly. Don't start a commercial IX with the idea of making money, because if you're very successful, the equipment vendor is going to take all your money. And if you're not successful, your colo provider is going to take all your money. So, oh, speaking of colo provider, we offer colo. So please put your IX in our colo. At this location, thank you very much. Have a nice day.
So the solution is be a colo provider. Control S. Go, go, go.
Good evening, everyone. So I represent the Control S. We are the Asia's largest rated 4 tier 4 data center. We are operating out of India right now in 14 data center locations. And sorry for the correction which you want to make. We put Thailand under India. So we're excited to announce our exchange and data center in Thailand by end of this year. And happy peering. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, exclusive information here. Digital Realty. Can do it. Come on.
Hi, I'm Jojo.
Hi, I'm Kobayashi.
Yeah, we are trying to highlight some of our new facilities in APAC, although we have 310 data center globally. So Chennai, we just launched last month, and Mumbai is coming up. And Korea, of course, is our highly connected DC2.
And from Japan side, NRT 12, it's just opened. We will hold our opening party next week, and kickstarting it's opened last February.
Yeah, and our DC is all connected by our digital platform, so feel free to contact us to understand more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Globe Telecom. Come on.
So if you didn't take photos earlier, you can continue to.
That's your job.
Yeah. So just a quick update. Globe's data center is now managed by SCT, so that the future peering templates will be updated to that one. But you can still contact me as the main spoke for DC using the PeeringDB and my email. Thank you.
Thank you. Guam, what?
All right, cool.
So the reason why we don't have Guam IX up and running is because we haven't built a data center. It's coming up in June 2024. I built that Peering DB entry 4 days ago.
All right. I think you win for the speed. And another repeat performance.
Hello, my name is Tommy. Sunny Vision is the largest data center operator in Hong Kong with 8 data centers, 2 cable landing stations, and a domestic subsea cable called TCO Connect, connecting Mega I and Mega Plus in Hong Kong. Surrounding Mega I is an ecosystem of 250 plus partners, including major telcos, IX, cloud service partners as well. Last year we launched a hyperscale data center called Mega Gateway, our next connectivity hub, and the second one, Mega IDC, the largest data center in Hong Kong with 180 megawatt. With both DC in operations, we are reaching a floor space of 3 million square foot GFA, and 280 megawatt of total power capacity. We are not stopping here yet. Around 80% of subsea landing in Hong Kong have CityPop in our mega campus. We also launched a new solution called Mega Edge to address those newer community who wanted something low cost and fully managed solutions to connect into the Mega Campus community as well. ADC direct cable, we're pleased they've landed into our cable landing stations and with CityPop in Mega Plus. So with all that in mind, feel free to connect us to learn how we can turbocharge our partners to connect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Guam again.
Hello again, everyone. We just have a small data center at the university that's mainly for research. And thank you.
Thank you. That's how we like it. All right, now we come to the last section, which is a new thing, transport providers. But there's only 3 of them, and one of it isn't here, so even better. Converge, please.
Good evening, everyone. So we're Converge team. I'm Glai. Converge presence in nationwide in the Philippines. So we have a facility presence in Globe, PLDT, TIM, IPC, DOST, ASTI, as you can see on the slides. We offer MPLS, DWDM, and BiJPON, of course. Minimum bandwidth we offer is 2 Mbps up to N by 100 Gbps. Subsea cables also in the slides. As I'm so pressured because Matt wants some beer already. So you can visit our website, and we'll be here until Friday. Thank you.
You're right. That's all that counts. So now, in case you didn't have enough of him yet,
This is your last chance. Yeah,
don't
so
believe a word he says.
we also have our own fiber backbone in the Philippines, so contact me if you need transport or connectivity. Thank you.
And now we come to the most important part, when Archie will tell you where the beer is.
Not yet. So, but before we go to that, I'm gonna call Toyama-san, Agus, and Tony for additional announcement for Peering Asia. Thank you.
Peering Asia.
Thank you.
Speed up. Everyone waiting for the beers. Okay, so so Peering Asia, the open and the neutral peering event in the Asia Pacific region. We have 7 years of history, and this year we will have a Peering Asia in Jakarta. So we would like to introduce the host. So, APSI, IDNOC, and Equinix. So please.
Yeah, so I want to say thank you for the Peering Asia Committee to choose Jakarta as a host for the next event. So we are inviting all the participants can join our event in Jakarta, and also we need supporting from sponsor. Thank you.
Yep, well, we are happy to be working with the local community to organize this Peering Asia. We haven't finalized the sponsorship plan yet, but if anyone's interested to sponsor, feel free to ping us.
Yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, one slide back, please. The main date is in Peering Asia 6.0 is in November 6th and 7th. Okay, but the one day before, we will have an peering, maybe the peering tutorial and peering meeting will be served. So please mark your calendar and start a plan to join Peering Asia. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's very quick, Yama-san. I just didn't know what drink you had earlier. Anyway, announcement for the Peering socials. It's going to be 6:30, 4th floor, Kandava's Place. The tickets, you can check with Gavin or Raf. So it's really more of a count limit on the venue, but you can try to stay there. And if we can get more people in, we'll bring them in. So it starts at 6:30. Look for Raf and Gavin for the tickets. Thank you again, and see you tomorrow.